Namaste yogis, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. So for today's SynEq practice, we're going to need a bolster or a pillow, 2 blankets or blocks like this. So you can have an extra blanket if you want, and have a strap handy, a scarf or a belt. And we are going to start by wrapping our ankles with a strap or whatever it is that you have available. And before I turn around, I'll show you. So what you want to do is, whether you're going to tighten it up or close the loop, you want to make sure that when you move your feet away, you will have about 1 or 2 fist distance between the knees and between the toes. So my knees are going wider. So about 2 fist distance between the knees and the toe. 1 to 2 fist distance. So I'm gonna go a little wider. That should do. Okay, so you can measure yourself about 2 fists distance between knees and toes. And then we're going to get ourselves onto our backs and place the ankles on the pillow or your bolster. And you want to make sure there is some resistance on your ankles. Flex your feet. See if you can allow your feet to be parallel to the sides of the mat, like you would measure for Tadasana or mountain pose. And then, or in SynEq, if you only take SynEq, we call it also just parallel feet when we stand tall. So then we're gonna relax the feet forward, the toes forward, and you're gonna let the knees just relax down. Then release yourself back onto your back, relax your hands by your sides. And you may check again. So your feet might be looking like they are in a pigeon toe position or pigeon toe. And relax your ribcage hands and close your eyes. And we're gonna take a few moments once we get into this position. And what this is going to do is going to release the hamstrings. And you will find that even now, as you lay here in this position, you may notice that you feel slightly rotated. Maybe your right hip or left hip is closer to the floor than the other. Maybe you even notice that one knee bends more than the other knee. Maybe it's the way the back of the legs feel against the bolster or just on their own, like hanging there towards the ground. You may notice the one knee is fully extended, not the other. The way your upper body releases onto the floor might also changes depending on the position that your pelvis takes, will change the rotation of your thoracic spine, your upper back. If there is something going on with your knees, for instance, if you have the tendency that one knee is bent more than the other, because maybe you hurt one time a foot, an ankle, or knee, or maybe your hip, and then we start creating these tendencies of movement that we don't correct, because very often these tendencies are created when we are injured, and the body has to change the way it works to compensate for that one muscle or joint that is not working properly. This is natural, and this is a wonderful thing that our bodies do. However, if we do not catch it, if we do not correct it on time, then it just becomes an actual limp. If we're talking about the knee, like in this case, like if there was a reason why you might be limping a little bit over time, your knee got used to be always bent a little more. And then when you didn't need to protect that said muscle or joint, the knee is already used to work this way. Now you keep that limp over time, that creates a rotation on your pelvis. And that rotation reflects on your upper body, and later on it manifests as shoulder pain, neck pain. And it's funny because sometimes we want to correct the shoulder pain with shoulder exercises, when in reality, what's causing the shoulder pain might be an injury that happened a long time ago in a different part of the body. The thing about SynEq yoga is that it allows us to work every single muscle from toes to crown of the head so that they all work as a team because the body works as a unit. So once we engage every single corner of the body, then we are derotating the joints, protecting them, and bringing them back to wherever they belong. And we're not talking about perfection, that body has to look this way, that way, or it's about functionality. Our joints need to function a certain way. Another thing there is a big misconception in yoga about flexibility. Oh, I'm not flexible for yoga, but guess what? Just because you're flexible doesn't mean you should be doing all those extensions anyways, because sometimes hyperflexibility equals instability. So this class is all about coming back to center, strengthening the body from the inside, just finding balance really. So we're gonna continue to observe how the body adjusts here. And forgive me if I talk so much. I just get excited when I start remembering all these wonderful things that our body can do for us. And just pay attention, because here what we're going to encounter is that resistance. We're gonna try to shift. Maybe it's an itch, maybe it's a discomfort on your hip, or you feel one hip closer to the floor and now you want to shake until you get to center. But try to breathe through that urge to change your position and try to allow your muscles to relax. In that way, gravity take over and do the rest. In that way, your nervous system tones down and the muscles truly get to go where they need to go. If we try to control every single time when the body is doing something, then we don't give the opportunity for the nervous system to help. Because here is the rule. The nerves tell the muscles what to do, and then the muscles tell the bones what to do. So we will start for the beginning, which is the nervous system, and we're gonna tackle that through the breath. So when you are ready, and as you continue to scan your body from bottom to top, you're gonna take a long, deep inhalation through your nostrils and expand your tummy as high up as you can. And then exhale, let your tummy go. And then again, breathe in and expand. And breathe out, let your belly drop. We're going to take 3 more breaths like this at your own pace. To the top of your lungs. Make sure that you empty your body. Last breath. When you finish that 3rd breath, wiggle your fingers. Move your arms out to the sides at a T position and keep the relaxation on your feet, your legs, your glutes. Keep your rib cage grounded. Now bend your elbows and bring your arms at a goalpost posture. So still your hands are on the floor, your palms are facing up, your elbows are at a 90-degree angle. And as you take your next exhalation, slowly and mindfully, as lower as you can, exhale your forearms together in front of your chest. Now, they may not touch, so just bring them closer together, but don't worry about them touching or not. And as you inhale, bring them out to the sides again. Don't worry about touching the floor with your arms. If you notice that your ribcage is lifting, don't touch the floor with the arms. Then exhale, arms up again. Now the movement is very slow, so is your breath. But as you notice, the slower you move, the heavier your arms feel. That's because we are targeting muscles that usually don't get to work because the bigger guys are always there to do the big jobs, but the problem is that they also want to do the small job. So that's why this small motion is so good for us. It helps us to get just a little bit deeper and work with other muscles that also need to come up and play to keep the joint stable. In this case, you may notice that you start feeling your neck. If that is the case, you are going too wide with your arms or you're squeezing a little too much. Also notice if your jaw is tense, if your feet or your legs are engaging. You want to relax your lower body. Do you notice a difference between left and right? Is it that your right arm might be a little more responsive? Maybe it's your dominant side, left or right? Can you feel your shoulder blades moving? The wings, can you feel them against the floor? Or maybe just one side and not so much the other? Tuck your chin a little bit so that you're not putting the strain on the neck. The next time you go onto the wide arm position, when your arms go down towards the floor, don't touch the floor. Stay about an inch or two away from the body, away from the floor, and breathe. Draw your shoulders into their sockets and then slightly away from the sockets. Like if you were pushing your elbows towards the sides, and then draw your shoulders into their sockets and then out. Keeping the same arm position. One more time. Shoulders in and shoulders out. Release your hands by your hips, palms facing up. Take your time. Close your eyes. Relax and observe. Notice your heartbeat and your breath. Let us take one more breath here, full deep breath. Now the next one, it might be a little bit tougher, so we're not going to go too far into this motion either. So when you're ready, bring your arms again at a goal pose posture. Now lift your arms just slightly, just the slightest if you can. Just lift them off the floor. Tuck your chin a little bit, making sure that there's no strain on the neck. Make sure the neck is not flat also. And as you inhale, glide your arms across the floor towards the top. So your fingertips are moving towards each other like in a diamond shape. But you don't have to touch them. They may touch, but that's not a goal. And then come back to starting position. And inhale, fingertips towards each other at the top of the head. And exhale, goal pose posture again. Remember that there is no need to go too far. Watch for the neck, keep your legs, your glutes relaxed. Keep your belly also relaxed. and your rib cage on the floor. Try not to let it go up. Notice if your shoulder blades move. If your shoulder blades are not moving, you're going to start feeling your neck. You might start feeling your rotator cuff. You want to make sure that you don't go too far up. If this is pinching or torquing your joint, small movements and stay behind the pain. Don't go that far. Keep your face and your jaw relaxed. One more round. And when you are ready, release your hands by your hips, palms facing up. Relax your jaw, relax your face, and observe your breath. Let us take one more breath, full deep breath. And on your next breath, bring your arms up towards the sky. Interlace your fingers and drop your shoulders into their sockets. So you know this one already. Keep the heels of the hands touching. You can cross your thumbs or keep them extended, whatever works for you. Without tensing too much the mudra, inhale your arms overhead. No goal of touching the floor, of course, and exhale, arms up. You're only going to go as far as you can without lifting the rib cage. So depending on the shoulder mobility today, sometimes when the shoulder cannot go any farther, the brain will try to get us there no matter what. So instead of using the shoulder joint, we're going to start using the spine. The thoracic spine will start arching, lifting towards the sky, moving the rib cage also upwards. So that's when we know we are compensating, and that's when we know that we are no longer using the shoulders. Another form of compensation is when you're tensing your hands so much. If your fingers start getting purple, then you know that you are compensating there. Your face and your jaw will also show if you're overdoing it. So I will leave you to it. Close your eyes and continue to move at the pace of the breath. Keep your lower body relaxed. When you are ready, come back to center on your next inhalation and exhale, release your mudra, bring your hands down to the ground and watch your breath. Notice how your hips feel now, your lower back hopefully is close to the floor by now. That's what we want. The next one won't feel maybe so comfortable for our hips, but this is a wonderful way, especially if you suffer from lower back pain, sciatica pain. This is a great way to rotate your back and to release it. So we're going to wiggle the toes, bring your hands onto your hip bones, and bend your knees slightly and place your feet on your prop. So whether you have a pillow or a bolster, and you're going to push your pillow or bolster away from you until you get your legs down onto the floor. So my strap is on the way there. My strap stays what it is. Like I have the same distance between my ankles, between my knees. Flex your feet, press your heels away from you, press the back of the legs onto the floor. Now, tuck your tailbone and press the small of the back on the floor. Bring your hands by your hips, palms facing down this time. You can micro bend the elbows here and notice if both arms touch evenly the floor. Now you're internally rotating your shoulders. Try to draw your shoulders still down towards the floor. Look, although you are in internal rotation, you're still trying to get the shoulder down, although it's inwardly rotated, okay? Now, keep that pressure on your arms down onto the floor. Notice if your shoulder blades are active. Press through the heels. So we're not moving, but you should be able to feel the energy building through your legs, all the way up to your glutes. You're pressing the small of the back onto the floor, and you're making sure that your neck is relaxed. The next time you exhale, press your arms down, lift your head, tuck your chin, and look at your feet. And make sure that you have your feet parallel, and then return down. After the adjustment, continue to press your heels away from you. Now, the next one is a wonderful way to align your upper back, your thoracic spine. It will align your whole back, but it will work very well with your upper back. Reach your arms overhead, palms touching. This time you're gonna extend your arms like if you were trying to touch, like I have a wall right here, like if you had the wall and you were trying to touch it. Now reach, 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 press your heels away, and now drop your rib cage and your lower back. Tuck your chin onto your chest. Keep your knees fully extended and breathe deeply. Actively push your toes, your fingertips away from your heels, and your heels away from your fingertips. We'll take one more breath here, full deep breath. And then release when you finish that exhalation. Let go of your legs, hands by your sides, palms up, observe. Notice the heartbeat, notice the breath. We'll take one more breath here, full deep breath. And keep the strap where it is. Bend your knees, bring your foot soles on the floor, keep your feet and your knees apart. So make sure there is just a little bit of tension on your strap, not much. And roll the feet towards the right. Bring your arms at a T position. Roll the feet and knees to the right. And then back to center and roll the feet to the other side. So you're moving the weight onto the outer edge of your left foot and inner edge of your right foot. And now foot soles touch the floor again. And now you roll the other way, knees to the right, and weight goes to the inner and outer edge of your feet. And back to center. We'll do one more on each side. We started to the right. So we finish when the knees come back to center from the left. And once you come back to center, pick up the knees, tuck your tailbone, bring your knees in towards the chest, hug them, and rock side to side. Massage in your back. Now, if you have a block or blanket, you're gonna use it, have them, if you have 2 blocks, you're gonna use 2 blocks. If you have 2 blocks, you're gonna use your 2 blocks and keep your strap as wide as it was. And maybe just a little less in my case, because what you want is to have your knees and your ankles, I'm gonna turn, same distance apart. It's gonna keep the blanket, I keep calling that thing the blanket, the strap, in between the ankles, like you're gonna keep it there, around the ankles, my goodness, and then your blocks in between the knees, that. Then I'm gonna bring your foot soles to the floor and walk your feet apart. So there is a little bit of tension on the strap, without strangulating your feet. Relax your arms by your sides. You can adjust your head so you don't want to have your head hinging back. Relax your glutes. Relax your feet. Once your feet are relaxed, you want to notice if you are placing equal weight on your feet, or maybe one foot has more weight than the other. Even here, we can notice those tendencies. The other thing is, notice if you're putting the weight on the outer edge of one foot, not so much on the other one, front or back of the feet. Where are you putting the weight on your feet? Are your toes gripping? Can you relax your toes? And can you balance the weight on the feet? Then squeeze your blocks as you take your next exhalation, and squeeze them as much as you can without your glutes activating, without changing the position of your pelvis, without engaging your abdomen. And then release. Let's do it again. Next time you exhale, squeeze your blocks only until you start noticing that the rest of the body wants to come and help, and we're not gonna let it. We're gonna isolate the inner thighs. So once again, exhale, squeeze, and inhale, release. And exhale, squeeze, and inhale, release. Squeeze your blocks without engaging your buttocks, without shifting your pelvis, and then release. Keep your feet relaxed, and let's do it one more time. Squeeze, and release. And we'll take a moment here. Now we're going to try not to squeeze the blocks as we move the feet away from each other. So without lifting the feet, without physically moving the feet, you're going to push your blanket. How you say that? Like, you're going to move your feet, your ankles away from each other, so you feel that tension on your, I called it the blanket, right? A strap. You're gonna feel the tension on the strap, and then release, and then again, and exhale, extend or stretch your strap. That's the word I was looking for. And then inhale, release. We're going to continue to stretch the strap without physically moving the feet from the floor. And then we're just going to be very mindful of what's going on in the body. Are the glutes trying to help? Is your abdomen tense, or your jaw? Your hands maybe are helping. Maybe you're tensing your hands a lot. What parts of the body are coming in to help? And you will be surprised at how much a hand tenses and works when we hurt a foot. You won't believe it, but if you don't have good balance, somehow your body will try to get you there. So other parts will try to come and help, whether they have something to do with it or not. So notice in this case what's going on. Last one. And then when you're ready, release. And what muscles are working, or did work, or continue to work? Now we're going to do both movements at the same time, but trying to spare the glutes and the abdomen. We're going to keep them relaxed. Now, when you're ready, exhale and push your heels or your feet away from each other and squeeze the blocks at the same time. And don't squeeze your bum. And inhale, release. Ay, ay, ay. What did you feel now? Exhale again. Squeeze the blocks and heels push away from each other. And inhale, release. And again. And we repeat. And we're going to do 10 more. Do it slowly. Do it mindfully. To count your own. You may notice that your dominant side tries to overpower, so try to put equal effort on left and right. And notice if your feet are changing position. Some of you will start feeling your calves helping. Some of you will start feeling your hamstrings helping. Maybe your glutes, your hips. And when you are done with your 10 rounds, relax. You want to relax enough, not so much that your blocks leave you, just take a few moments here, observe your breath. Now, when you're ready, bring your hands on the back of the neck and interlace your fingers in Usha's Mudra. You want to have your hands right at the back of the neck, not the back of the head. It's important because we don't want to hyperextend the neck for this one. Now your thumbs may move to the sides of the neck. Rest your head back down onto the floor. See if you can press your elbows against the ground. When you're ready, tuck your tailbone and draw your navel in, squeeze your blocks, push your strap away, like heels away from each other, and lift your legs at a 90-degree angle. And then inhale, feet down towards the floor. Keep your back glued to the ground. And when you're ready, exhale, squeeze the blocks and heels away and lift. And inhale down. And again. And inhale down. And squeeze the blocks and lift. And inhale down. Continue to do that opposite movement, squeezing the knees, but moving the ankles away. As you exhale, lift. And inhale, feet down. 10 more. Shoulders and head do not leave the floor. Rib cage, do not leave the floor. Your spine is glued to the ground. Tuck your tailbone purposely so that there is no pinching on your back. Use your inner thighs and your legs to help them come up. When you are done with your 10 rounds, you're gonna release and breathe. Let go of your hand position. You can put your blocks aside, your strap aside. Extend your legs. And take a few moments, observe. Notice how close your back feels to the floor. Notice if you feel rotated or you feel a little more even. Take one more breath here, full deep breath. And when you are ready, bend your knees and bring your foot soles to the ground and move on to your favorite side. Take a few moments once you get there. Notice your heartbeat, your breath. And use your top hand to slowly help yourself up on your next exhalation. You're gonna take your bolster or pillow and put it in front of you. You can have an extra blanket to pad your knees if you want. And have about fist distance between the knees. Move your bolster towards the front. You're gonna send your tailbone up. Shift your weight forward and rest your elbows on your bolster. Hug your elbows, making sure that you're not going too wide. If your pillow is uneven, go straight down to the floor. That's better than being crooked on the upper body. So if you don't have like an even surface. Okay, so then after you measure your elbows, you know they're shoulder width apart, your tailbone is rising, your belly is dropping, your hands are gonna come to the front, like in namaste position. Keep your fingers together and keep your thumbs extended, like not towards you, but forward. Press your palms together, make sure your shoulders are right over the elbows, instead of back. Okay, so your body, especially if you're quite flexible in your shoulders, your body's gonna try to do what I'm doing right now and shift back almost in like a downward dog position for the shoulder. But we're not doing that here. We are stacking the shoulders instead over the elbows, and then we're gonna go into a shoulder dip. Draw your blades together, like if you were just hanging out here. If you notice that this is too hard, like your core is engaged, you have moved your body too far forward. So you either walk your knees closer to the elbows or your elbows back, whatever is easier, until you are able to stand here, just not stand, but stay here without effort or much effort. It's not that simple, especially if there's something going on in your shoulders, so do watch it. So this back position is going to bring the curvature of your spine back in place. If you notice there is some pinching sensation going on, you do want to bring your spine towards the ceiling, minimize the curvature until you find the arch that works for you. Meanwhile, you're going to press the top of the feet onto the floor. Keep pressing your palms together. Put equal effort on left and right, allowing your chest to move closer to the bolster. Keep your gaze down towards the mat without letting the head dangle just yet. We're going to get there, or maybe not, depending on the neck. Keep breathing. Keep pressing your palms. Make sure your jaw is relaxed. We'll take one more breath, full deep breath. And when you are ready, press your elbows down, draw your shoulders up, and slowly and mindfully, you're gonna come out of the pose, put your bolster to the front, and place your hands around the same distance where your elbows used to be. Shift the weight forward a little bit, go into a shoulder dip once again. If there are any concerns with your wrist, you're gonna go onto your elbows instead. This time we're gonna go lower. If being in your hands is a no-no for today, go on your elbows. Then depending if there is high blood pressure or you have any neck concerns, you're going to keep that shoulder dips. So you're gonna go, let your shoulders go up and your chest go down. And then maybe gonna let your head dangle. For those of you who this does not feel right, keep the back of the head parallel to the floor. If you're letting your head relax down, you may move it gently side to side. Massaging the sides of the neck, return to center. You're putting equal weight on left and right. All of your knuckles are touching the ground. And you also are here, aside from engaging your blades and bringing them towards the center, you're also training your pelvis to go into an anterior position. We sometimes lose this mobility, this position, this motion after sitting for long hours, driving around, or just habits. So this is just a great way to reposition your pelvis. And we're gonna take one more breath here, full deep breath. And with control, and on the next exhalation, if you're on your elbows, you're gonna come up on your hands, tuck your tailbone slightly, come back to tabletop position. Walk your hands back towards your knees. If there are knee concerns, we're gonna shift back just enough so there is no pressure on the knees. Rest your elbows down and rotate your wrists both ways. If there is okay, it's okay for your wrists, for your knees or your ankles, you may sit back on your heels as we stretch the wrists here. And then when you are ready, if it works for you, we're gonna stack the fist and rest the forehead down. You could do that from the front without putting the weight on your head. Like if your hips are not sinking back towards your heels, you want to make sure that the weight here is on your elbows and the effort is on your shoulders rather than putting all the weight on your head. Because if that's the case, you're gonna take it onto your neck and we don't want that. So make sure the neck is not tense. Breathe deeply. Take one more breath, full deep breath. And slowly and with control, shift your weight to the front, walk your hands onto tabletop position. Allow your knees to be fist distance apart, curl the toes under, and maybe sink back. You can use your hands to stretch your baby toe. You can stay down here and keep your hands to the front. You can walk your hands a little bit higher towards your knees. My ankle is not ready to do toe torture, but if your ankle and knees are okay, you may bring your body to an upright position. It is an intense stretch and do it slowly. Once you get there, breathe deeply. If going on to toe torture is too much, remember you can minimize the stretch by walking your hands to the front and taking weight off the heels. When you are ready, mindfully walk your hands down the legs towards the floor and towards the front, walking back onto tabletop position. Then lift your feet and spread your toes wide and curl them. And then again, spread them and maybe wiggle them as you spread them. And then curl them. And then once again, spread and wiggle and curl them again. And maybe tap the top of the feet on the floor. Really fast as you can. And come back to center. Awesome. You're gonna walk your hands towards your knees, come up to an upright, step forward with your whatever foot you want, curl the back toes under if they're not already there, hands on your thigh, pick up the back knee and step forward and walk it out and shake the tension off. All right, so we're gonna go against the wall. You're gonna use your blocks again. If you do not have blocks at home, a folded blanket or a book or something of the same can be 1 inch to 2 or 3 inches tall, can be a folded blanket, can be your yoga mat, you can fold it. Make sure it's not gonna slide, that's important. And then you're gonna place your folded blanket or props right against the wall, and then you're gonna have it about 10 to 8 inches away from the wall, depending on the size of your feet. Now from here, we're gonna bring the balls of the feet onto your prop and let your feet sink or your heels sink. Your heels are wider than your toes. You're like in Tadasana and you're pressing your hamstrings against the ground. So that was with the blocks. But if you don't have blocks, you're gonna take a blanket and fold it thick enough that will allow you for some stretch. Roll a towel, or really, you guys, it depends what you have available right now. And some of us cannot bear having the blocks just yet. So I'll stay here with my blanket actually. So you're gonna tuck your tailbone, bring your ribcage in, bring your hands by your sides, palms facing forward. And some of you will bring the back of the head onto the wall, but some of you won't. So for me, if I do this, I'm straining my neck, so I'm just gonna let my head do its thing. Eventually, when the back body returns where it belongs, and once your back body is extended, your head will return over the shoulders. A lot of neck pain comes from that inability to keep the head over the shoulders. Many of us, myself included, have the tendency to send the chin forward, whether it's because you spent a lot of hours in front of a computer at work, or maybe it's just maybe you don't see very well and you don't like wearing your glasses. So when you're looking at something, you have to send your chin forward to be able to see better or read. So that tendency will later on manifest as neck pain because it will take your cervical spine out of position. So this stretch, no matter how mild it is, it will help us just to bring ourselves back to center. The trick here is to press the legs back, to send your pubic bone forward so that you have your pubic bone and your hip bones at the same level. And then try to bring the ribcage in so that you still have a space between your back and the wall, but not so deep of a stretch that you can put both your arms. So really watch that. Keep your toes soft if you can. We'll take 2 more breaths here. If you are on your blocks, be very mindful. If you are on your blanket, make sure it doesn't slide. When you are ready and you're done with your breath, you're going to come out of your props. You can hold on to the wall. You can walk around a little bit to notice where are you placing the weight, maybe more on your heels than before. The next one, I'm going to do it facing you and against the wall, but well, first we're gonna do it against the wall so you can see. So you want your heels against the wall, and you want to have about 2 feet between your feet. 2 feet between the feet. Right. And then arms out to the sides at a T position. Now watch my hips, you guys, because the next one, it's tricky. On your next exhalation, imagine that I have the wall behind me. On the next exhalation, you're gonna glide your upper body towards the right and try to keep your shoulders in one straight line. Your left hip is going to try to go to the left, and we're not gonna let it. The other thing that's gonna happen is that your toes will start gripping. Don't let them. Try to lift the toes. Now, sometimes the mind will try to get us a little farther. So we're gonna try to do something like this, but we don't want that. We want to keep that T position of the arms. In order to have that, you want to engage your scapula, your shoulder blades. You want to squeeze them towards the center. So once again, your feet are about a little less than mat width apart. T position, tuck your tailbone, draw your ribcage in, lift the toes, press your legs back. Exhale, glide your arms and hinge from your waist towards the right. Okay, so inhale back to center and exhale, glide to the left. Again, inhale, center, and exhale to the right. Find your rhythm. Every time you inhale, you come back to center. And every time you exhale, you go to the other side. So I will continue facing you just to show you some of the things that your body will try to do aside from getting the arms farther than they are. Just notice if that's happening, and then retract your shoulder blades once again. So they're not going to, like when you're against the wall, the thing is that you might not be able to go a little too deep into it because we're not taking the hips. Otherwise you would be doing into a triangle pose, but we're not going into triangle. We're keeping the hips square and we're just hinging from the torso, keeping the hips in place. Then because the body is like, oh, but that's not too much, then it's gonna try to take the head or the arms. So once again, keep retracting those shoulder blades. By now, your legs should be on fire. If they're not on fire, then I don't know what to tell you guys. Good for you. We started to the right and we return to center from the left. Release your arms, walk away from the wall, and roll your shoulders up, back, and down. We're going to go one more, well, actually 2 more, but this one we're going to go as wide as it feels comfortable. So the first one was a little bit less than mat width apart. This one will be, like if you're super flexible, of course, you're not gonna go into a split, but you're gonna go just as wide as, you know, it feels comfortable for you, that you are still stable, because that's another thing. Remember that flexibility equals instability when we overdo it. So if you're quite flexible, don't go as far as you can. Now, press the back of the legs against the wall, tuck your tailbone, draw your navel in, lift the toes to the best of your ability, and try to keep both glutes touching the wall, and try to keep your pelvis square. So you will notice if your pelvis is rotating. Awesome. Remember, we don't care about the head. It may not touches the wall. We're not gonna force the neck. Arms at a T position. Inhale here, squeeze your bum, and exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale up, and exhale, side bend to the left. If you are really doing the work with the legs, with the glutes, stabilizing the pelvis, and the pelvis is not shifting to the side or rotating, so you can feel touching the wall, your side bend is not going to be so impressive. It's not going to look like you want it to look, and that's a good thing. Make sure both legs are firing. The thing you can do, hyperextend your knees, have a micro bend on the knees purposely so that you're not locking them. But one thing you do want to do is to think about having a beach ball in between your legs, and imagine like you're trying to squeeze it, and that will get into your glutes, into your gluteus maximus, and it will get your thighs, and it will help you stabilize. We started to the right, we will finish to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, release your arms, soften your posture, walk your feet closer together, walk it out, shoulders back and down. Awesome. Last one. We're going to bring the heels against the wall. Look at your toes. You want to have about a fist distance between the toes. The outer sides of your feet are parallel to each other. Pelvis in, navel in, T position, legs extended, and side bend to the right as you exhale. Inhale, center, and exhale to the other side. And we're gonna do one more on each side. Notice how your feet are doing. When you're done with both sides 2 times, return to center from the left. Release your arms by your sides down, shoulders back and down, and walk it out and shake the tension off. Awesome, you guys. We're gonna go back down onto the floor. No fancy way. You can take your bolster with you if you want and have it under your knees. Go onto your butterfly position once you get there. We're gonna use butterfly, the supported butterfly if you want to. You don't have to use the bolster, to equalize your pelvis and your spine. You can have one block under the head if you want, or a blanket. Release your hands by your sides, close your eyes, and breathe deeply. And do your very best to really relax your feet, your legs, your glutes. Let your hips be heavy. Relax your tummy. Feel the expansion of your rib cage. towards the front, sideways, and you might feel your upper back also expanding towards the ground. Let your body release and empty from top to bottom, chest, belly, and navel goes down towards the spine. One more time, breathe in and expand from belly to rib cage, all the way up to the collarbone. And then when you breathe out, let your body relax from top to bottom. You may bring your knees up and extend your legs on the bolster, or you can take the bolster out of the way and extend your legs on the ground, whatever feels right. And then check in again with your hips, with your hamstrings, with your spine. Notice if your rib cage is popping forward, or perhaps it's a little bit easier to keep them connected to the ground. We're gonna take one last breath here, full deep breath. And when you are ready, send the awareness down to the feet and wiggle your toes. Move your feet side to side. Wiggle your fingers. And stretch your arms overhead or to the sides and stretch and tense and squeeze every muscle tight, tight, tight. Baby prune face. And exhale, release. If there is any stretch that your body needs, you can go for it now. You can stretch again in the same manner, stretching from toes to fist or anything else that feels right. Without rushing, when you are ready, gonna move onto your favorite side and lay on a fetal position. Just a few moments here to check in again with your breath and your heartbeat. And you may use your top hand to slowly help yourself up. On your next exhalation, meet me on a seated position. You can sit on a block or a bolster or a blanket. Bring your hands together at the center of the heart. Allow your shoulders to land over the hips. Relax your face, your jaw. And we're going to seal our practice with our metta mantra. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I be brave. May I be peaceful. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be brave. May you be peaceful. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all be safe. May all be brave. May all be peaceful. Inhale through your nostrils and expand. And through your nostrils, exhale. Inhale to Om. Om. Tuck your chin onto your chest, open your eyes. Build up your prana. Shower yourself with it. And shake off whatever it is you don't need. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Namaste.